As you're aware, yes, we've been prepping for the past few years to budget and get everything in place for municipal-wide evaluation. A very long overdue one. The state had stepped in. On average, Union County has been at least 20 years. Most of the municipalities have had evaluation, so the state did step in and ultimately order us to start moving forward. The county has set up a calendar. We're prepared for it. We budgeted for it. Our maps are in the process of being sent to the state for certification, and I intend to have an RFP out. By the end of the month, and we'll move from there. But it is ultimately, in my opinion, a very, very good service to our residents. Well, as I'm assuming you may understand, my office isn't always the highest regarded amongst our residents, because ultimately the end product is property taxes. That's not the function of my office. It is to ensure equity and fairness across the board. You can imagine 20 years, or I think we're almost 25 years.
97, 98, right?
So that the market shifts. There are pockets here and there that do appreciate at different rates, and at the end of the day, as much as I am very vigilant with assessment maintenance, there are certain legislative restrictions that tie my hands, and there are things that need to be addressed. And so this will take care of that and should be best, I believe, for everybody who will be serving our taxpayers most properly going forward. So it's a very exciting process. I know it's daunting sometimes. My experience prior to becoming an assessor, getting my CTA, was mostly in the appraisal field with reval firms. And I know it can cause some trepidation, some anxiety with residents, so I hope you know throughout the whole thing, if you have any questions, I'm always accessible. I'm sure you're going to have people reaching out to you as well. But it's ultimately going to be a lot of, we need to have a lot more public interaction. And when we hire a firm, they're actually required by the state to conduct a few public meetings, so on and so forth. They'll have many notifications sent out, mailers and whatnot. But the biggest thing that I would like to address up front, I know one of the most common misunderstandings to this process is that the municipalities doing a reval, they want more money. That's really not the issue at all. At the end of the day, I'm sure you're all aware, the budget drives property taxes. The services that are desired by our residents cost money, and you take how much you need by the Board of Ed, municipality, county, divide that by what I value the municipality at, there's your tax rate. So we're at 43% right now. People are going to see these assessments jump up quite significantly, and it might be daunting. The fact of the matter is, well, we'll use 50 for an easy example. If we were at 50% ratio from assessment to market value, we're going up to 100% market value after the evaluation. The rateable base doubles if, say, in a perfect world, municipality, county, Board of Ed, and everything needs the same amount of money they did the year prior. You double that rateable base, tax rate goes in half. Essentially, that's how it works out. It's not perfect because there are neighborhoods that have appreciated at different rates. And but general rule of thumb from my experience is 60% basically stay the same, 20% up, 20% down. It's too soon to really know that. I have some speculation, but it's not even worth really jumping into just yet. So ultimately, as I said, RFP, hope to have that out by the end of the month, to have boots on the ground from field inspectors from whatever firm we do employ. They will be going house to house, knocking on doors prior to. They will be sending per neighborhood that's assigned letters out saying somebody from our firm will be coming around, be aware, because if you're not home, they'll knock on your door, they're going to measure the exterior, they're going to leave a card if you're not there, and they're required to have 3 different contacts with our residents to try to get interior access. And I urge all of you to, if you're speaking with anybody, to really push to allow that. I mean, it's not only for each individual, but for all of their neighbors as well. It's best to allow access and really be cooperative in the process as possible, and they have the most accurate information and be able to more appropriately serve the entire municipality. But they will be walking around, and people will call up not only my office, but also the firm will be available as well to answer any questions, any concerns. Then we go from there. Ultimately, I hope to have, by the end of 2024, all of the valuations completed for the 2025 tax book to be certified in January of 2025. They do have, throughout the process, like I said, they are very communicative with our taxpayers. They are available, and then even at the end of the process, they send out a valuation notice, and they even have informal hearings where they'll sit down, go over the comparables, maybe address things if they hadn't gotten inside, try to get another opportunity to access, and maybe sometimes make adjustments if something may have been missed or the concern that the residents have. It's not as daunting as many people believe it to be. It really is, in my opinion, I believe the greatest service we can do, at least in my profession, to assure that everybody is really carrying the burden fairly across the board. And at this point, that's a brief overview. Do you guys have any questions or concerns that you may have? Yeah, please throw them out there.
So start with this. So just to be clear, if the tax base, right, our library, right, our municipal services, our school system don't need another dime, the assessment it will be an equal zero-sum game, basically?
Essentially, it's not perfect. Like I said, there are some neighborhoods that are particularly undervalued, or vice versa. Maybe some that have a little higher values. I know I've addressed some, I'm sure you're aware, with the apartment complexes that were underassessed. So there's many, we had raised those because they were wildly out of whack. But there are still some properties that, like I said, there's limitations to what I'm able to do at this point legislatively. So some, like I said, the 60%, 20/20, some will see a change, but overall, no. I mean, if you imagine, you're taking your budget and need to provide the services that are desired by our residents. You take how much money you divided by the variable base that I put on, that is your rate that you're applying across the board. In a perfect world, if there's no more money needed, you double that variable base. The tax rate goes down at the same exact
So there's
ratio.
no chance that at the end of that revaluation, we have all these people that go up, all these people that go down, and we have an additional $5-10 million in tax revenue.
Well, that's not the function of my office. The taxes are not, no, actually, there's an association I'm involved in that's petitioning to change the name of the position to just municipal assessor. Because technically, we don't make the taxes. Yes, the land product, it does affect that, but the taxes aren't my office. My office is to make sure it's flat across the board and fair. The taxes are based on budgets. And at the end of the day, no, the revaluation isn't, if the municipality needs the same amount of money, the county, the Board of Ed needs the same amount of money, it's going to balance out.
It's affected in the tax rate, is what you're saying.
Yes, and the rate is a product of.
And I know some of these questions, I know going through the budget, the answers of them, I'm just asking them because I want to hear it.
Right, yeah, people.
One for two, I know these are the questions I'm going to get, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So
Well,
what,
yeah, go ahead.
so if someone doesn't allow someone in, what's the ramification of that?
It gets estimated. Firms, from my experience, do things differently. Some of them will actually have a card that says, well, here's how we're estimating. We're putting down this number of bedrooms, this number of bathrooms, finished basement, and it might not have a finished basement. I think that's a better method because it usually then causes the taxpayer to call, well, no, my basement's not finished. How are they going to know they're not inside?
It's not going to take the high end. It's not going to say, all right, well, they have everything great. It's not going to say, well, they don't have anything. It's going to say they kind of have a little bit of everything.
It varies. I mean, not incredibly high end. In my experience, it was very realistic. You look at a house.
I think the biggest fear is you were like, well, if I don't let them in, then they're going to say I have granite in every room and I have marble floors and fixed,
Well, that's why I like this newer practice where I don't know if every firm is doing it. I've heard it's very new. When I was in that field, that we did not implement the same practice, but they put it on the card there. Okay, well, we think you have 2.5 baths. We think you have finished basement. We think your kitchen's modernized, and they'll call up and say, well, no, my kitchen's 1950. So then they can address it at that point.
So how could we, residents are gonna ask us,
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
and they're gonna say, I'm not letting them in because I don't want them to see that I have all the new stuff and and my taxes are gonna go up. How do we counteract that?
Well, that is why they ultimately do estimate sometimes. I mean, it's within reason. If you're looking at a house and it doesn't look like it would have been renovated recently, but no, they do have to make certain assumptions because otherwise you're allowing people to ultimately not have the same consideration as the residents who did allow
Yeah.
access.
So basically, it's, if you don't, they're gonna estimate, and they might estimate wrong.
It's not completely unreasonable. Like I said, in my experience, I was always very reasonable. But they do have to make certain exceptions because it's the best way to try to ensure fairness.
One thing they found the last time we did it, people that didn't let the assessors in there, they were the people that came in and said, oh, look at this. And then they finally let them in because to get the correct assessment. So you really don't beat the system.
And it's not even a matter of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I think
I just want to know where the base comes from, right? So like, what's your base records that you're going off of? How would they say, oh, you have this, this, and that, and the other thing?
well, there's two ways we can go about it, and that's something that I'm still considering. So you can allow the firm to go in with our existing property record, or we can have them do it from scratch. Our records are actually quite accurate. I would personally prefer to use the existing cards because it does give a nice baseline. They still make some assumptions thereafter, but I think that's the best way, and it's the quickest, most efficient, and I believe it would still keep it most accurate. Because honestly, over the past 25 years or over 20 years, I don't think we're going to have that many inaccuracies. So I think we can use that. For example, I'm in another municipality as well. They have old paper records that are very old. It was not the office was not kept up as diligently as New Providence, and I would want everything done from scratch there. But here, I believe we're set up in a good place where it shouldn't be a concern, and it still would have a level of accuracy even if there are assumptions made.
So I have a question about our peer communities. So other towns in Union County, other towns in New Jersey. Obviously this is not something that's unique to us. What else is going on out there in other places? Are they doing the same thing? Is reevaluation common?
It's supposed to be done every 5 to 10 years, typically. Or if the ratio drops below 85%, we're at 43%. The state was not very harsh, and I'd imagine a big, significant portion of Union County is politics. So probably is why it was delayed as such, but the state didn't have to step in. So right now, I think by the end of this year, 50% of Union County will have complied and gone through evaluation. Elizabeth is in the process right now. They were the first one to actually be ordered. I don't know if you're familiar with the lawsuit they had against the state to try to delay that a little bit. I mean, it's a big undertaking. We don't need to get into the details of that, but they have inspectors in the field right now. I know Union will be coming up as well soon, but yeah, roughly 50% of New Providence on Union County will be completed, and the other ones are slated for the next, hopefully to be done in the next 5 years. It's my understanding the county schedule has. There are the new trend in the state. It started in Monmouth County, and now I know actually Somerset probably did it prior without particular legislation that was established, but Monmouth County set up a pilot program where they are doing annual reassessments, which in my opinion, I believe is the best way to honestly go about it. You stay ahead of the markets. If I can send you guys the reports from Louise and whatnot from the studies they did in Somerset, your liability and your exposure and tax refunds and so forth is minimized significantly. You're staying ahead of these changing markets. You're constantly updating the values. Fiscally, I believe it is the smartest way to go about it. And also, if you look at the cost over, okay, if you're going to, Union County's probably going to start moving towards now, you can't wait 25 years. So you're going to have to do it 5 to 10 years. You can do, within 5 years, you can do reassessments where you have to get into less properties reval is typically 80% is what's required by the state. So reassessments are cheaper if you do it every 5 years. Some of them you can do in-house. We obviously don't have the field staff for that. So some municipalities hire firms just to do the inspections and do the valuations annually or every 5 years.
If it's annually, are you just doing changes or?
Yes, value changes, and what's required is to inspect 20% of the municipality over a 5-year period. So the inspections aren't, you're not inspecting the entire municipality, but you're updating the values every single year. And it really,
Oh, certain.
yeah, well,
20%,
it,
20%.
yep, and it's, in my opinion, I think it's the best way to stay ahead of everything and really, because no, markets can shift significantly in a brief period. I mean, luckily through COVID, it didn't what we expected with the retail space and everything. I was expecting significant vacancy. New Providence is a nice downtown. Everything worked out well. We're still pretty strong there, but anything can happen, and you put yourself. It's liability. I mean, we're trying to be responsible to provide the services, and this is our taxpayer dollars, like taxpayers' dollars. Still, we have to budget for tax appeal refunds, so on and so forth. That's, in my opinion, the smartest way. It's a conversation, if you're ever interested, that we can have in the future, but many municipalities are moving towards that. I know Morris County is now doing that, Hudson, Bergen, Somerset, like I said, have been doing it in Monmouth as well.
I think that's something we should look into in
Yeah,
the future.
yeah, if you want to have further conversations, gladly, and there's many studies that have been done. Like I said, Moody's did a report in Somerset when they began years ago, and really, there's many things that are reflective of its significance and the impact, the benefits it could have ultimately.
Brian, when back to Diane's question on the basement, when a home is sold, does that record get updated, or renovation get made? It doesn't.
If there's no renovations and
So only a renovation gets.
no, it is illegal in the state of New Jersey to reassess just because the property is sold. Throughout the year, I mean, if there's a reassessment or revaluation, yes, but no, if I review every deed that comes through my office, and there's sometimes, I'm sure you're aware, people do renovations without permits, or maybe they had some permits.
No, I think you explained the problem when I put an addition on my home.
Okay.
It's what you described. Somebody
Right.
came, I was on the fence, did I let them in or not? They explained the whole process to me. Very convincing of why I should let them in and see what we're doing.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
it worked well.
Good, good. Yeah. No, it is better. Like I said, it's not even just for the individuals, because they do have to make certain assumptions and estimations. It's also, I mean, it's a nice community. I feel like a lot of people I think it's best for your neighbors as well. Like everybody should communally come together, and it would make the process smoother, and ultimately, at the end of the day, make everything more fair. That's the purpose.
One thing that Brian and I were talking about before is a lot of you weren't here, but back in the day, we were getting slammed with commercial tax appeals. This will eliminate that. Everybody will be brought up to the same level, so everybody will be constant for a while. That's why I think it's good if we really look into this 20% thing. We won't run into that again.
Correct. Yeah, because a lot of the commercial businesses are more apt to hire attorneys and file appeals more regularly than our residents, and that shift does, over a period as long as it has been, end up falling on the residents. Granted, the residential market is a lot stronger as well.
Yeah.
And that's what drives the ratio to drop more, particularly currently. I mean, I do my best to knock out sales and keep our ratio as steady as it can be, realistically. But the fact that they use a weighted ratio across the board and not per property class, commercial market is not appreciating the same as residential. So during COVID particularly, I'm sure right now you guys have seen selling 30% over asking, and that does affect our ratio. So those commercial buildings that are not keeping up, they're going to fall out of the corridor. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where they file an appeal, they have to find a value outside of 15% of the ratio. No, it's not appreciating at the same rate, they're going to get reductions. But that market may still pick up in a 20-year period, but there's sometimes my hands are tied and we can't address those inequities.
So if you do the 20%, that's the mayor mentioned, going forward after you do this, is it a random sampling, or you do 20% of the town that in 5 years you get 100%?
Yeah, it is, it's not random, it is established
20,
like 20%, like certain
Slices.
particular neighborhoods.
So eventually, within 5 years, everybody.
Correct, yeah.
So question on the process, the firm that we end up using, is this all they do? What kind of firms are these that go around and assess?
So, some of them do many things, I know, there's not many right now. The one that I used to work for had finally closed up shop, but they were one of the earliest ones, certified valuations did the last reval here, over 20 years ago.
So are we competing with these other municipalities that are now trying to?
Oh, no, we're not competing, the firms are competing with each other, and
Oh,
that's
okay,
why.
so there's plenty of firms out there.
No, unfortunately, no. I have to kind of drove up the prices slightly because it is very limited. There's some new ones trying to come in. I had some old friends that just, trying to beg me to start up my own company. It is, there's like
We
2 or
don't
3.
lose it.
No, I'll never leave here. This place is wonderful.
So, and then, how long does the whole process take? Like, how many, boots on the ground, you said, how many people do they send out? And how long does it take approximately?
It does vary. It depends how much work they have at a time. I'd imagine a town like New Providence would not take the entirety of the year. It should only be at most a half a year. That's estimating. It depends on their volume, how many people they have in town. That's something we'll get a better grasp on once we get responses from the RFPs. But I think it would be easy to have it. We'll definitely have it done in a year. I don't think it would even take that long, to be frank. But we have 4,000 line items, not including our exempt. It's really should be a fairly smooth process, in my opinion.
So when does, so we send out our cards, right, with everyone's assessment for the, do we do it every 6 months or once a year?
That's every February.
Yeah, so every February. So February, they're gonna get their card in 2025?
Well, no, in this case, though, prior to the book even being filed, once we have the valuations done, all the inspections are done, the firm did their valuations, they will send out letters first. And that, as I had mentioned, then afterwards they'll have informal hearings, and these are all things that are required by the state to review everything, make sure property record card's right, make sure everybody's comfortable with the value. And you're still going to get appeals and whatnot, one way or another, but they will get that prior to the tax list even being closed in January. So there is enough time to actually review everything and see if there are things that may.
So you'll know what you're gonna get.
Not the taxes necessarily, because the rate won't be struck until the budget's set in the following July. So that means, but if, like I said, if the budget doesn't change much, you would have a fairly good understanding.
So the goal is pencils down by the end of 2024 for that 2025.
Correct.
Okay, any more questions? No? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Tylenol.
Thanks for
Feel
having
better.
me.
Feel better.
Seriously, call me if you need anything. Anybody has any
Yep.
questions, you can push them off to me or.
You'll be on speed dial.
No problem. I'll do this.
Did you say that you were gonna send us the Monmouth article?
Yes, I will send you the Moody's report. That's actually not Monmouth. Well, I can send you literature on the Monmouth program as well, but it did start prior to the state adopted the demonstration program that Monmouth County is doing. Now it's something that can be legally done. Somerset kind of just jumped into it prior, and that's what the report's on. So I'll definitely get that over to you guys. It's quite fascinating. I think it's something to consider. I know. So here's one thing to consider as well. The entirety of Union County may not be doing annuals. It would be our choice to do that personally. So you also have to consider in that regard the adjustments of ratios in other municipalities that aren't keeping up, and that does impact your county apportionment ultimately. That's one thing we can get more into detail about as well if you want to discuss further. I don't know how significant the impact would be. It's something with these revals coming out now, 50% being done, it's something we can analyze more directly. But it's
That's a
something
good
also
point,
to
I
keep
didn't
in
think of
mind.
that.
Yeah, it's something to consider as well.
Because there were a couple of years in the eastern end of the county was paying more than we were.
So yeah,
The valuations were going up a lot higher than ours.
Yeah.
But,
But luckily, the fact that Union County is going to rebuild, we'll actually have a better understanding of the impact
yeah,
at this
You can
point.
tell us who is reevaluating every 5 years and who's reevaluating every, so
Correct.
it's legal every 10 years
Well,
maximum now?
it's typical to be 5 to 10. Like I said, those are things that are out of control. The fact that the county wasn't ordering, probably something more the state didn't jump in until they finally looked at us and they're like, come on guys, you gotta get your stuff together. So, but we'll see how it is moving forward. I'm in constant communication with the county administrator. He's wonderful. We have a great administrator, so we will see how they plan to move forward. But I did get the understanding that they would not require annuals for every municipality, because somehow it's not always a town like Elizabeth will be expensive, and maybe they're not budgeting for that and not considering it the same way that we are. So but that's analysis, like I said, that now we'll have more information, more statistics, we'd be able to have a better grasp on what the impact would be on the county apportionment at this point.
Good. Sounds good, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Jane, call the meeting to order, roll call, please.
Mrs. Belisca?
Present.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Here.
Mayor Morgan?
Here,
Mrs. Joffrey?
Here.
Mr. Kogan?
Here.
Mrs. McKnight? Here.
let's salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's a public meeting, Borough Council, Borough of New Providence, County Union, State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with PL 1975. And an annual notice or revision was made in conformance with Section 13 of the Act. Approval of minutes for May 23rd, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Yes.
No? So be it. Correspondence from Yi Zhang to remove a book from the library. As you know, even though we collect the taxes for the library, they're their own separate entity, so we'll refer this to them. Okay? George Pizzo, it was about signs, and from Keith Lynch, and he's going to take care of that. And he has been taking care of that. So, Mike Baumer about pickleball courts in New Providence. I talked to Mike. He wants the pickleball lines on some of the tennis courts. The problem is that the Board of Ed uses all of those. And if they put those lines in, tournaments aren't going to be able to be used. So, hopefully we're looking into putting them in ourselves, so. Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, we'll go to council business. Nadine,
Thank you,
community
Mayor.
activities.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-156 is a resolution approving payment number 1 and final for Robert W. Watchick, landscape contractor, in the amount of $5,500 for cricket pitch synthetic turf installation. So this is our final payment for the installation of our turf at Warner Field.
Resolution 2023-157 is a resolution authorizing the mayor and municipal clerk of the municipality of New Providence to execute an agreement with the county of Union to modify the cooperative agreement dated June 2014 as amended July 2017. So this is a resolution authorizing the borough to enter into an agreement with the county to continue with CDBG funding for the DeCorso Senior Center. It's the amount of about $30,000.
Okay, finance, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So we've got resolution 2023-158, simply a transfer resolution that is approving transfer of money from 2023 appropriation account to reserve trust accounts for the revaluation, state unemployment insurance, snow removal / storm recovery and tax reports. Resolution 2023-159 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant to NJS 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 148, Union County Infrastructure Grant 2023. This is inserting $50,000 into the budget that was received as part of our 2023 Union County Infrastructure Grant for paving the roads. 2023-160 is a resolution providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of grants 40A 4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, municipal court, alcohol, education, rehabilitation, and enforcement fund. This is inserting $1,297.25 into the budget that was received as part of the state of New Jersey municipal court, alcohol, education, rehabilitation, and enforcement fund. Then we've got resolution 2023-169, a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant to NGS 40A 4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, Clean Communities Grants. This is, a resolution that's accepting grant money from the state of New Jersey for the fiscal year 2022 Clean Communities Grant Program. The amount is $31,937.92, and it can be utilized for the following: cleanup and removal of litter on public lands, and including sponsorship of the Adopt a Beach, or in our case, Adopt a Highway program, education programs to promote clean communities and Bag Up New Jersey, graffiti abatement, enforcement of local anti-littering laws. Resolution 2023-162 is a resolution authorizing cancellation of taxes receivable, and this is canceling taxes at 26 3rd Street due to the resident being 100% disabled government. Resolution 2023-163 is a resolution authorizing the payment of attached bills payable in the amount of $892,894.57. Some of the significant items on this list are the state of New Jersey for $142,202. That's the June state health benefit premium. We have the New Providence Memorial Library, that's the June library appropriation of $93,300. And Riverview paving for $273,716. This is road improvements and paving with the New Jersey DOT grant funds.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Resolution 2023-164, which is a resolution authorizing First Amendment to the easement agreement with respect to 144 Gales Drive, Block 163, Lot 39. And this is a resolution authorizing the First Amendment to the easement agreement, which was created in 1964 for the driveway off of Gales Drive. Spring Grove Properties LLC, otherwise known as Spring Grove Rehabilitation. They applied to the Board of Adjustment late last year for certain variances, and they were granted with various conditions, including revising the existing easement to conform with the actual location of their current driveway.
Okay. Personnel, maybe.
So resolution 165 is a resolution of the Borough of New Providence ratifying the termination of employment of Andrew Williak at the school across the north, effective May 25th, 2023. Following the resolutions relate to our negotiations with our Teamsters and our PDA that ultimately Jeff Barton was involved in. She's going to be here.
Okay, so the next couple of agreements, or resolutions, Matt said, are regarding our contract negotiations with both our Teamsters Union as well as our PDA. Our first one is resolution 2023-166. Is a resolution approving the memorandum of agreement between Borough of New Providence and Teamsters Local 469 for the period of January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. So this is our DPW, and the contract was unanimously ratified by their membership. The next three relate to our PDA. First is resolution 2023-167. Is a resolution approving memorandum of agreement between Borough of New Providence and New Providence Patrolmen Associates of PDA Local 132 for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. That's also unanimously ratified by the membership. Resolution 2023-168 is a resolution approving memorandum of agreement between Borough of New Providence
Providence Sergeants Association, PBA, Local 132, for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026, also unanimously ratified by the membership. And lastly, 2023-169, resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between Borough of New Providence and the New Providence Superior Officers Association for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026, also unanimously ratified by the membership. And I just want to thank everybody for having such a successful negotiation and great teamwork.
Okay. In public safety, limousine license, Rajah Shakur, is something discussed. It was all properly prepared and reviewed. And raffle licenses for RA 1190 for the Lions Club and RA 1191 for the PDA 132 Civic Association. And also properly prepared and reviewed. Resolution 170, resolution for the shared service agreement for the special law enforcement officer, agreement between the Borough of New Providence and Lawrence County Education for the 23-24 school year. Resolution 171, appointing Class C special officer, Dennis Carolina, who's being reclassified from SWE 03 to SWE 02. That means he can work all during the year. The SWE 03 works still in the school year. Okay. Resolution 172, approving the crossing guards for next year. And the next few are liquor licenses. 173 is Hilltop Social Club, which is Hill, for an ABC club license. 174 is a plenary consumption license for East Coast 73. 174 is the consumption license for Lily Inn. 176 is the consumption license for Porto Healy, which is a banner. 177 is a consumption license for Alleycat and that's Harley's. And 178 is a retail distribution for M&M Acres, that's Township LLC. And 179 is a primary distribution for Providence Liquors. Okay, Alex, public works.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2023-180, resolution accepting bids and awarding contract to National Water Main Cleaning of Kearney, New Jersey for the project commonly known as the 2022 sanitary sewer lighting in the amount of $321,050.20. This awards the bid for sanitary sewer lighting to National Water Main Cleaning Company in the amount of $321,050.20 for the videotaping and cleaning of approximately 3,500 linear feet of sanitary sewer pipes, installation of 3,500 linear feet of sanitary sewer pipe lining, and the repair of 10 existing sanitary sewer manholes. So just 3,500 linear feet is just about 4 laps around the track at the high school. Resolution 2023-181, resolution approving partial payment number 1 for Riverview paving in the amount of $273,716.27 for the NJDOT FY22 Fairmount Road, Bromley Court, and Woodcrest Drive Improvements Project. This is the progress payment number 1 for the NJDOT fiscal year 22 project. To date, both Bromley Court and Fairmount have been paved. The vendor continues to do work on the drainage and Woodcrest ahead of paving. Resolution 2023-182, resolution approving requisition R23-01130 for Shifano Construction Corp. in an amount not to exceed $700,000. MCCPC contract number 6 for 2023 road overlay program. Resolution approving Shifano Construction to pave the streets associated with the PCNG gas line replacement project. Resolution 2023-183, resolution approving requisition R2301-216 for Foggia Trinity Electric LLC, an amount not to exceed $18,500 for installation of an emergency generator at the Council Community Center. This just approves Foggia Trinity as the vendor to install the generator when the generator arrives at the Council Center. Resolution 2023-184, resolution approving shared service agreement for road paving services between the Borough of New Providence and the City of Summit. This resolution approves shared service agreement for the Division Avenue repaving project. The City of Summit will be responsible for managing the project, which will include resetting manholes, paving, and striping, as well as inserting a detectable warning service in several locations. And the last item, spotted lanternfly program. This is a 2023 chemical control treatment grant. This application to the DOT for money to help abate the spotted lanternfly. Dreaded lanternfly.
Okay, public safety operations normal, and we're looking at the Lions Club, they gave the fire department a rescue, and I know they gave the rescue squad they used to call them Annie's, but it's not called that anymore. It's a lot more intricate, so. But I just want to thank him for doing that. Went to the 5K race, which was a huge success. I don't know how many people were there. It was thousands. So hopefully they make a lot of money. I know, Lisa, you made it through. I was good at welcoming everybody, but you actually did the work. I want to announce that there's going to be the annual flag retirement ceremony tomorrow night across the street at the American Legion at 7 o'clock. It's a very nice event. I haven't missed one yet. And I just want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. You know, and I don't know where the year went, but it's been going quick. So at that point, I'll leave it to Diane.
Thank you. So communications, the website is looking great. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Thank you to everybody in the borough for working on that, because I know they're working really hard. We're still on target, and there will be more next meeting on that topic. Our volunteer advisory committee to review our franchise agreement with Comcast is off and running. We have a lot of work. We are getting a lot of inputs. Thank you for everybody for working on that. Historical Society, as was mentioned, had our flea market. There will be another cemetery tour, I believe, on July 7th. GID, I have a meeting at the end of the month, somewhere on that. And then just another note, the school year is wrapping up, as we just talked about at the end of June. Congrats to everybody. We're going to have clap outs for Saltbrook and AWR. There's the 8th grade promotion, and finally the high school graduation, which Nadine, Pete, myself, and Bernadette all have seniors, and we're very excited for that. Shout out to all the volunteers for the PTSAs, PTO, PTAs, and thank you for a wonderful school year to the teachers, admin, aides, central office, Board of Ed, everybody and anyone that I've missed. I think that's about it.
You sure?
There's always a lot going on. I can tell you more, but.
Matt.
So thank you for saying Happy Father's Day. As my wife would say, every day is Father's Day. So thank you for that. So I did want to say congratulations to all the seniors at the high school graduating this week, especially Bernadette, Diane, Pete, and Nadine as well. That's a big deal, graduating a senior. A lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoy it. The MP Lions Club had a golf outing yesterday. It was a really fun event. I haven't gone in a couple of years, so it was really nice to go out. And I brought my neighbor who moved to the neighborhood 2 years ago and introduced him to, 200 people. He's like, wow, you know a lot of people. I said, well, it's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. It's a great town. So he enjoyed it, and looking to bring some more people next year. And they raise money for things like you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Which is a great organization. And they're always looking for people, by the way, so if you're interested. And last, the Cricket Club, we just paid the final payment, right, for the cricket pitch. They are looking to host a celebration opening event, so I'm going to ask them to coordinate that through the Recreation Department, but hopefully we can get full attendance from our administration, and we'll welcome them and wish them luck on their cricket pitch.
Great, thank you. Nadine?
Thank you, Mayor. So Diversity Committee just had their Unity Fair last weekend. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend due to a family commitment, but I just wanted to reiterate my thanks to that entire committee. It was a student-led event, outstanding attendance by people, many different booths. So I just want to thank the volunteers, and I feel like I keep repeating this, but I can't say it enough. With student leaders this strong and this excellent, our future is very bright. So thank you to them. I'll also go into that in a little bit more detail. Municipal Alliance, kind of going backwards, talking a little bit about our seniors in high school. So as our seniors are graduating, the Alliance wanted to give them a tool chest, a place to come for guidance if they need help. So we will be, Brian, I'll give you this. We are going to be handing out a sticker to all of our seniors, and it's basically saying you are not alone. And if you need help, there's a QR code. That QR code takes them to the borough website, and I just called it up to just to go through one or two things very quickly. There's links and resources for anyone. But we're giving this resource to our graduating seniors, and it has information about the National Suicide Hotline. It has information of various helplines, addiction hotlines, different upcoming events and opportunities. So just a tool chest for seniors or really anybody if they need any help or guidance. It's right on our borough website. And this should be, hopefully this sticker will go onto their laptops or something with them, so if anybody ever needs help, this is there. We're going to be giving that out with the yearbooks, so hopefully they'll have it, and then we also have the same resource for parents on the business card. So this is out with the Municipal Alliance, and I want to thank Jim Madden for spearheading this and the Alliance for supporting this. So great resource for our seniors and parents going forward. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick comment on from the engineering side of things. As we all know, there's so much paving going on between the borough paving, PSE&G, and the water company. Bernadette, I want to thank for putting it all together on one schedule that's going to be showing you which streets projects are pending, going on, or about to happen. So that was a great achievement, I think. And then on the diversity committee, back to the Unity Fair. Many of us here on council attended. I know all three people in the public attended. I thought it was just a great community event, probably over 300 people. Really got to show you what this town is about. I think just the vast cultures of community coming together. As Nadine said, the kids, the performances were terrific. And just the coordination effort, and of course, ending with holy colors, and the mayor and Council McKnight all participating was just great. It was just phenomenal. So I think it's getting better and better every year, and hopefully next year will even be bigger and better. So
We were in Technicolor.
Big kudos to everybody that participated, as Nadine mentioned.
It came off pretty.
Yes.
You know, they started that 5 years ago, and it was very small.
Yeah.
And I told Sunil, you know, believe me, it'll get bigger every year, and it does. It does. So it's
Actually,
nice.
Somebody that I had brought with me, a teen, she commented that there were so many young kids there. She was a little bit flabbergasted, but it was a great thing, she said. So,
Yeah, it's amazing how the kids really picked up on that whole thing and pretty much ran the whole thing.
So professional, so organized. Their organizational skills were outstanding.
Okay, Lisa.
What do I have? Beautification Committee has been meeting a lot, they have a lot of ideas and a lot of plans for Centennial Park, but they're also learning a lot of limitations that come along with that. So that's still in process. They do have a meeting set up, I think, next next week with Jeff Brode, who actually designed the park, to get his input as to what his intent and his vision was with the park. So there are lots of ideas, we just, they're gonna need to figure out how to get there. And I have full faith that they will, so stay tuned.
And long term, right?
Long term, so
Long-term.
what they're coming up with is like some short-term goals that they could do real quick. They're looking at some holiday decorations, and for, once the gazebo gets done, that we'll be able to really kind of have that pop out. So there's some short-term goals and then there's longer-term goals. Yeah, it'll take a while. But if you don't have a house sign, go ahead and buy one of those house signs. They help fund the beautification committee's endeavors, and they are also coming out with a magnet for your car. So it's not just the shore towns that are going to have a magnet. We'll have one for New Providence as well, and that's brought to you by Beautification.
Great. Okay. I didn't mention the pavement because I know Bernadette has a whole report on it. And I don't know how you do it, because working with PSC&G and New Jersey American and our own paving, how you guys getting it all done?
Herd and kitten.
She has enough papers to wallpaper her office, because and she's got them like, I've been in her office, it's amazing.
The worst thing that I see is when they dig up a road, they only pave half the road. And it makes no sense. So Bernadette's been working with Ralph and everybody, Marie, our engineer, and so between everybody doing things, that we're getting whole streets paved. So we don't have to go through this nonsense. So I'll leave it up to you.
So thank you, Mayor. Paving has begun. Bromley Court is finished, Fairmont is finished. They're finishing up the DOT project on Woodcrest. Hopefully we'll get to paving that in the next week or so. Today we milled Constant, Grant, Crest, and there was and Crane Circle.
Crane Circle.
Tomorrow morning, they're going to start paving on Grant, Crest, and Constance. If it goes quick enough, they'll also head over to Crane Circle to start over there. After that, the paving company that we are using for municipal paving is heading over to Berkeley Heights to do some work, and then they are coming back to complete a lot of the streets that were in Phase 1 that the borough is responsible for. At the same time, PSC&G has already noticed and started marking out the streets that they're paving, and they should begin that in the next week or so. We're trying to get clarification from PSC&G as to whether or not streets that have been already completed in the Phase 2 section will be waiting to be paved until all of Phase 2 is completed, or if they will at the end of the summer or early fall, pave what is ready to be paved and then do the rest next year. So we're still trying to work out how that's actually coming down. The water company is on the Fellsway and, I forget the other street they're on. We're working with them to determine when they are actually going to start paving. They just did Salt Brook last week. Curb to curb, and it's my understanding that they're doing curb to curb on the Fellsway and on the other road as well. So thank you everybody for your patience. The website is being updated regularly. Sometimes it may not look like it's updated. Full disclosure, depending on how far they get, it will determine on what that looks like. So green on the chart is it's complete. Red is that, it's in progress, but it's either pending or we don't have a date yet. That's about it. It's enough. And I would like to preemptively thank you for approving the purchase order on here for paving.
Okay. Anything else? Nothing? No. Okay, at this time, we have public comments. Anybody wishing to address council with their name and address?
Good evening, folks.
Hey, John.
Don Kane, 54 Midvale, over there. So I just wanted to talk about the smoking conditions last week and the communication therein. So we have, from what I can see, there are 3 ways that we communicate with the constituents. One is reverse 911. If somebody signs up, if they don't sign up, obviously you can't get it. Facebook, if they're a Facebook user. If not, there isn't there. And the borough website, which when I went on the first day, I couldn't find anything. So I went on the second day and it was there, but it was buried. So I went, I found it, but most people couldn't. So my concern is, how do we do this to hit the most people, number 1. 2, I'm concerned about those people that don't use them, seniors in particular, and then the people that are under 30 that don't care about all this stuff. So they don't check text, they don't check email, they're not going to go to our website. So how do we contact them? And separately, I wanted to know whether in a situation like this, an emergency situation, are the businesses notified separately so they can deal with this? That's where I'm at.
I don't even know where to start. Anybody that watched TV or listened to the radio knew that there was a smoke advisory. And we did send out a reverse 911.
For those that had it.
That those who had it. You said it was on the borough website. And,
Buried.
and we've always said that we're working on a borough website. So,
But we can't keep saying that. We have to actually know when it's going to happen. And it's got to be, so when I went on other websites, it's there on the front page. You don't have to look for it, it's right there. And it is now on our webpage, because I looked before I came over.
Okay.
But it wasn't then. And yes, you're right. You can see it in the air. But I was looking at what we're doing for our folks. That's where I was at.
So we did say our website will be live next month. We've been saying it for weeks, months, actually.
So, at any rate, thank you for your comments.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Actually, my under 30 is on Smart 911, so she did get the text.
And my son, who was in West Virginia, was getting things, and he knew. So.
We strongly advise residents to do that.
Good point. I mean, at the end of the day, the national emergencies, things of that nature. I mean, like you said, TV and radio is very important. Obviously, most people with national issues are looking not for the Borough of New Providence to provide them guidance on that, but we do put the stuff up there to make sure that we're communicating, things to the community. It's there for sure. We can't make everybody sign up for reverse 911, but we've been pushing it for years. And if you have not signed up for reverse 911, sign up. It's so easy. It takes 2 seconds. You have a phone, and most people do. It's a quick process. You get a quick text on anything related to issues and emergencies.
That night I was with clients that are from New Providence, and we walked out of my office, and we're like, what is going on? And as soon as I said that, both of their phones pinged with the notification. So they told me what was on. Yeah, they got it before I did.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah.
Good evening, hi. Alan Swanson, 47 Overhill Road. I'm really happy, and I think it's great that you're going to be unveiling a new platform for the website. So I think that's going to be great. And but I have one thing that's important to remember with the website, and that is that we're going to have the new platform, which is great, but we need to be sure that we're putting in information that's timely, that's up to date, and that has been an issue in the past, and I hope that that's going to be part of what we're going to resolve. And I'm going to use one quick example just because it's current, and it just demonstrates something that we should be on top of. But it's not meant to single out anybody that might be responsible for this item or anything. It's just a current example. And that is in the recent election on June 6th, there was on the website posted an unofficial tally, and it just says 6/3/23. I don't know what time it was posted or anything, but that was the only posting that ever occurred related to the primary. And since then, there's more than twice as many votes as what's on that unofficial listing, even in the unofficial listing at the county level. And I just bring it up as it serves as an example that if you're going to put out, it's great to put out an early return and to have it on the website to be able to look at because the information that we get, in the town is much better than what we get at the county level, especially with the early information, so it's really great. But it would be really good if it was up to date with all of this information to coordinate with the county level. So it's just an example. And so I hope that you keep that in mind. The second one, I have a question on the discussion at the May 9th building. You brought up about meeting. You brought up about the height of the buildings and wanting to go back to the planning board. I'm wondering where that stands. I asked Margaret.
We haven't had a planning board meeting since.
I know, but is it on the agenda?
When we have a planning board meeting, it's going to be brought up.
Okay, because I just happened to ask Margaret yesterday, and she said I hadn't heard anything.
Right.
Okay. One last thing. On the issue brought up by George Rizzo and the complaint regarding Keith Lynch, I'm not sure what you said the resolution was on that?
He will be cited because he keeps putting those flags, those signs, continuously, not on his property.
It's the estate sale.
And, the estate sale signs. And, he's been told a number of times. He keeps doing it. So, there is a sign ordinance.
The reason I bring it up is that the complaint and the issues that he brought in terms of accusations against Mr. Lynch are rather significant if you're reading it just in the public and reading the agenda. I mean, you understand that. So I believe that it would be important to have an equally open resolution to the issue where people understand that people shouldn't be sitting back saying, well, is Keith Lynch going to come on my property and start taking signs? Because you see what I'm saying? I'm not.
Yeah, but you have to understand there's a process. The man was.
I understand all of it. I'm only talking from a communication standpoint to the public. That's all. I understand every aspect.
The communications is the man was doing his job.
Alan, the signs that have been removed have not been removed from anybody's property. They're signs that have been put in the public right-of-way, which is why they have been removed.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes my point, that the accusation that is public information says these signs were all removed from private property. And the resolution that you mentioned isn't explaining that to people. I'm concerned for you. I'm not concerned. It doesn't touch me. I understand it perfectly.
And if they are on private property, you need permission from the person on private property. It also says that the neighbors have been complaining about it. So, Keith has to respond to these complaints by neighbors and the person that he's putting not only on the public right of way, but on private property. So.
Do you understand that I'm totally 100% with you on this.
But
I'm only bringing it up
as
a communication issue that all that the public knows is what they saw on the agenda, if they read it. And that says things that you're saying didn't happen. And I just think it may be important so that people know that in fact, you're on top of it, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm on your side on this one. I'm trying to make sure that you get it out there that this isn't you're not becoming the Gestapo and coming in onto people's property and doing things, here and there. That's
In
all.
fact, I have to say, Mr. Lynch goes out of his way to make sure there isn't an issue. And I can tell you right now that he spoke to this individual a number of times before it's gotten to this point.
I absolutely believe it. I do. You understand. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address council? Yeah, Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen Dolan, 12 Laurel Drive. What is the new release date for the website? Because I think the last time I was here and we were talking about it, I thought it was supposed to be this week, June
It's the
12th.
same date, July 5th.
Oh, it's July 5th now? Okay.
Always been.
It's been for probably 6 weeks.
Okay, I don't know what I was thinking of when I have that date in my mind.
We said June, we'd be doing some back testing and things of that nature for
Okay.
July 5th release.
Okay, so it's on track for July 5th. And when that happens, is it like if you log in that day, it's going to look different? Or will there be any kind of downtime or transition
No,
with the information? It'll just cut over? Okay, great, thank you.
And important to know, it's still the same www, so.
Newprov.org.
Yeah, no matter what you put in, it'll bring it to the new site. There's nothing new about
Okay.
the actual web address.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, there's nobody else here, so I declare the public comments closed. I need action on items 1 through, hold on, 31.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Calista?
Aye.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Cogan?
Yes.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Okay, motion for adjournment?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
No, so be it. Thank you all for coming, and once again, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.